And we are live. Welcome to hashtag Jeopardy Live Panel. I am Andy Saunders. This is January 24th, 2016. And time for us to get right to the program. We have a big panel and lots to talk about. So let's get right to it. So here we go. My first introduction, I am going to go to the two people first who were not on this past week's worth of shows. First up, to Kat Deabill. Team tournament alumni from the last tournament, if I'm not mistaken. A new one's coming up in a couple of weeks. Or sorry, I should say a couple of months. They're trying out in a couple of weeks, and then taping, and then that stuff. But are you looking forward to seeing another team tournament in over the summer?
I think it'll be weird, honestly, because it's kind of, I remember reading when we were going to be on, all of the year before's teen tournament people being like, no, they're taking our spot, this is so weird, I can't watch. So, I mean, I'm going to be looking forward to watching, but it's also going to be kind of interesting, I guess. I don't know, it's going to be cool, though.
Yeah. Does your tournament class still keep in touch at all?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, we have a Facebook group going. We used to do more hangouts with actually the college tournament of our year because they came to our defense when people were being people on Twitter. But you know, we do still keep in touch. There's actually we have a couple of other teen tournament alums in the Boston area, so we get together and hang out and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And you're in Boston at Northeastern, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yep. Yes.
And as I'll get to make the joke a little bit later on, we may have a little something called hashtag Northeastern Live Panel tonight. After the Brandeis Live Panel from a few weeks ago, we've got another Northeastern alum on our panel. I'll introduce him in just a little bit. Our second non-contestant from this past week, Steve Bahnaman, you've been spending your time going through trivia questions with a fine-tooth comb. I'll go into more specifics about that.
Unlike usual, yes, I have been doing that only recently.
We'll get back to that in a little bit. Now you're still video answering your Learned League questions for the most part. Now I didn't actually try to watch, but when we played each other in one of the mini leagues recently, did you tape your response to that? Or did you tape your responses to that? I didn't get a chance to watch.
I have not been recording most of my mini league submissions. I wanted to do more, but because there's 3 sets of questions and I have to get all those out within the same span of time I normally have for questions, and because I was home with sick children twice this week and then sick myself this week, everything happened this week. I've been a little off my game. I should have, though. I played Mike Duvall. It's been a fun week for.
Well, I had in 1 week
celebrities.
Yeah, in 1 week in terms of random, really strong. I think I had you and Steve Perry on back-to-back days in the mini league, and yeah.
Yep.
So yeah,
neither of us has ever been on Jeopardy. How good can we be?
Yeah, I would probably say you guys are probably the 2 strongest players in Learned League who haven't been on Jeopardy.
Thanks.
So, in terms of we have 4 players from this past week's worth of episodes. First up, we've got Claudia Corriere. She was on Monday. Thanks for joining us again. That was quite a return, and we'll get back to talking about Monday's game in just a little bit. But thanks for joining us again. And coming on to Jeopardy Live Panel for the first time, I'm going to go in order of your debuts. First up, the veterinarian Kyle Webb.
Hey,
thank you for joining us. From Thursday, we've got Jennifer Sterling.
You can call me Jen.
Jen, okay, sounds good. And finally, the champion over the weekend, Fred Vaughn.
Howdy.
So, before we
And
get
the
to
other Northeastern Husky.
yes, that is right. Fred is the second part of our Northeastern live panel. If you've got anything you'd like to say to us, feel free to use the hashtag Jeopardy live panel. I am watching the hashtag as we go. Oh, we've got one already. This one from Vaughn Winchell. People are mean to game show contestants on Twitter.
What?
Really? I had no idea. Speaking of I guess before we get into talking about Monday's episode, I think it's a good time to lead off with This Week in Jeopardy history. And I'm going back 2 years to this one, to January 29th, 2014, and that is where I will wish a happy Jeopardiversary to Arthur Chu. Of course, with his first
Very nice.
his first episode aired on January 29th, 2014. Of course, with the aid of Mental Floss. They got name-dropped early on in Arthur's run, game number 2, I believe. They ended up writing an article about it, which aided in going viral. I would say his run was really the first one to go over-the-top viral since Ken Jennings. And to that, I kind of wanted to open this up for panel debate, and if you have anything to say on the matter on the hashtag, you can do so, hashtag Jeopardy Live Panel. But would you guys agree or disagree with this? Arthur Chu changed the game of Jeopardy more than anyone since Chuck Forrest.
Nah.
Yes.
So we have a yes and a nah. Okay, let's hear 'em.
Just vaguely. I mean, he kind of was the first one that made me care about speed. Let's put it that way.
Well, I think, I mean, as far as like the sort of Jeopardy subculture, lots of people know who Chuck Forrest is, but maybe just in the wider world, a lot more people know about Arthur Chu, and maybe that's because of, social media and all of that kind of stuff. But I really think, even people who are just casual Jeopardy watchers remember about Arthur Chu, and they have very strong opinions about.
Yeah, I certainly agree that Arthur's been like a major figure. I mean, you'd have to say since Ken, though, right? In that case, I think in terms of changing the game, you'd have to say since Ken too, because Ken Jennings is basically the Wilt Chamberlain of Jeopardy. Like when Ken Jennings was champion, you got some buzzer practice, but not everybody had to get in first. And after Ken Jennings' run, they changed that because he was dominating people so absurdly on the buzzer. So now when you do buzzer practice at the beginning of the game, you have to buzz until everybody gets in first, right?
Yeah, you generally do, yeah.
Yeah, which was not true at the time. So that's literally changed like how that works. And you've never seen anybody dominate the buzzer like Ken since Ken, because everybody gets a little more of the hang of it. So
Yeah.
I'd say, but in terms of Arthur himself, like I think he became very popular. I think a lot of people like to talk about his strategy, but I don't think there was anything too innovative about it. And I think Arthur said so himself numerous times. So I don't know. I'm just gonna be like, Mr. Gloomy Gus over here, I guess. But
I would say he has had quite an effect on Jeopardy. I would say he was the first person at least the first recent person to really bring the tie back into prominence. The betting for the tie.
okay.
And I would say that, of course, other people choosing to bet for the tie, on the coattails of Arthur Chu, led to the show deciding to close that.
Yeah.
But
Which led to the awesome 0-0-0 final, which wouldn't have happened if there had been no ties.
Yay!
No tie.
I'm getting it certainly makes things a lot more interesting in that respect. Once again, if you have any comments on this, feel free to type them in, hashtag Jeopardy Live Panel. We've got quite a few viewers tonight, actually, so if you've got something to say, feel free to mention it for sure. So, Well, yeah, Vaughn actually agrees with you, Steve. There was also Ken Jennings. He changed the inner workings of tapings, if you can believe reports. So, of course, that's what you were referring to, I think, there, Steve. A couple of other random questions from Carrie Green. What a great group. And, what's everyone drinking?
I'm so shocked Carrie would ask that question. I got water. I was sick yesterday. Otherwise.
And see, I'm sick. I'm sick today, so I'm hitting the electrolytes here.
Yeah.
So.
Oh no.
It has what plants crave.
I was running around trying to dry my hair in time for the panel, and so I have nothing.
The hulking remains of wild turkey on the rocks.
Hey.
Oh, party
there we
animal.
go.
You'll just have to drink for all of us, I guess, right?
Yeah.
There's not.
Yeah, I'm just drinking lemonade. So.
I got Coke Zero over here. So.
I would be drinking Triangle Brewing Company Belgian Golden, but I shouldn't. That's what I have in the fridge.
Responsible.
I
Such a good boy.
Triangle?
Triangle Brewing Company, yeah.
I'm in Durham.
What's that?
I said I'm in Durham.
Oh, you're in Durham? I didn't even realize that. Yeah, I'm in Raleigh. Hi.
Hi.
I mean, I was tempted to go to the store after I kind of, accepted the invite and get one of our fine local Wisconsin beers, and then I got lazy.
like Beast Ice. That's a fine way to do.
No, I would have gotten one. I mean, one really really tiny brew in my county.
Very nice. Yes.
Okay.
And it would have been gorgeous, and it's the one I give people when they show up.
Meanwhile,
Wild
Vaughn,
Turkey gets the job done too. So.
Totally.
So Kyle, why didn't they want you to be from Durham on the show? I was like, I didn't remember she was from Durham. What happened there?
No, they let me choose, and
okay.
I come from a super small town where not much happens, and I wanted to shout them out. So
That's cool. I don't blame you. That's fine.
Yeah, I kind of regret that I didn't say I was from my hometown because everybody back there is just like going nuts, and I'm like, why did I say it? Because I live in Burbank right now, and I'm like, I should have said I was from Pittsburgh. That's where I was born, and they seem to get into that kind of stuff. So
more than, oh my gosh, someone from Burbank was on TV.
Yeah, right. Like,
yeah.
Well, I didn't even put Burbank. I put Los Angeles. I was trying to make it kind of vague, and they were like, "Oh, she's from Burbank." I'm like, "All right, okay, I guess that's right."
So, a few other comments. Vaughn also suggests that after he played After the Final Wager also had a pretty big impact on Jeopardy. Yeah, I can agree with that. From the opening, this one from @QuizicalQuack, Jessica Pertese. Why didn't you do an Alex Trebek and call Kyle Demi? Well, yeah, that was
It's a missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity, clearly. So I think our viewers are waiting for us to start talking about Monday. So I think now is a pretty good time to do so, because that was obviously our viral moment of the week. The game did not have a winner. First up, I'm going to start. Claudia, take us behind the scenes. Did Randy kind of say anything afterwards? We really haven't heard much from her online. So.
No, she kind of disappeared, and I was definitely. I mean, not really because of the results of the game, but I was definitely over it by that point, and so I kind of I signed my pink paper and left, So I didn't really get a chance to talk to her, and as far as I can tell, I don't find her on social media. Unfortunately, she seems to have been the subject of most of the sort of not nice things that have been going on about that game, so I feel kind of badly, and I wish there was a way to be in touch with her and just kind of because our little Facebook group thing is pretty awesome and supportive, and if she's feeling badly about it, it might be good for her to talk to some people. But yeah, after the sort of stand around and chat awkwardly with Alex afterward. We all kind of scattered. So.
What was the subject of your chat with Alex that episode?
Yeah, I mean, it was, from what I remember, you sort of get PTSD about it a little bit and block it out. But from what I remember, it was just really that it was a very, very close and competitive game the whole time. I mean, going into Double Jeopardy, I think it was like a $600 game between the three of us, and then obviously Mike and I were tied going into final, so it was just super competitive and back and forth the whole time. I think that's primarily what we talked about. So.
Yeah, if I can jump in real quick, I actually did see Randy after the taping while I was having drinks in the lobby of the hotel, and she was super chill about it. She was like, whoops, well, that happened.
That's awesome. I'm glad she was,
Yeah.
That's good.
I guess the good news is if she's not out on Twitter, she may not be like checking Twitter that much,
Right.
so that could be an insulating factor.
Or Facebook or anything else.
Yeah.
There are still some people who aren't, and
Yeah.
it's if it's not for you, it's not for you.
Right. Well, and she's a college professor, so that may just be like a conscientious choice on her part to just sort of not engage, and have to have those conversations with students or whatever. So.
That actually makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of academics tended to eschew social media a bit. No, obviously, no. Claudia, did you expect that things were going to go viral?
I guess I just didn't really think about it. I mean, I was getting home, and then it was Christmas the very next week, and the time just kind of flew by between the taping and the air date. I guess I thought it might kind of be funny for people or something, but I had no idea it was going to be this sort of huge thing that it was, and maybe that's naive on my part, probably so. But no, it was kind of surprising, but then not surprised, I guess. I don't know. I was a pretty dedicated watcher of Jeopardy before my experience with it, but I was not I was not on social media following Jeopardy or anything like that, so I guess I didn't really realize how many people have things to say about it. So yeah, it was a little bit surprising.
Yeah. Now, how do we feel about how things did go viral, kind of as a group of former contestants and game show people?
I mean, I was actually, I didn't see, there was only one thing that I saw that actually even bothered me a little bit, and that was a not nice tweet from someone who had also been on Jeopardy, and it was about all of us, and I kind of feel like that was pretty uncool. But other than that, I was just like, yeah, you people have absolutely no clue what goes on with all this. So you just sit over there and watch Fox News and laugh about it or whatever. So.
Yeah, I guess I tighten up my social media. It's like it kind of looks, my social media world is wider than, or it looks wider than it is. But most of the people I was talking to, and I basically said, yeah, I was in the audience for it, and everybody it didn't seem like a complete, there were no meltdowns. I mean, and it was a good game up until that point.
Yeah.
So that's my official story.
Now, I know you've had some experience from back in your own teen tournament, Cap, with things going viral a bit, especially when it came to Shade.
Yeah. I don't know. I think mine was a little bit different. I mean, it was a strange experience seeing my own face on social media. I mean, I think mine was more positive, I guess, or at the very least neutral. So it wasn't hard. It was strange. I got a text. I had been checking my phone, and then I looked at my phone and I got a text and a couple of Facebook messages saying oh, Lady Gaga, look at Lady Gaga's Instagram. She posted a video of you talking about throwing shade, and I was like, so No, it's so weird. It has right last time I checked, the video had 137,000 notes on Tumblr, which was really, really weird. Because I would just go through Tumblr and all of a sudden I'd see my face on my dashboard and I'd be like, oh man, not again. But I think,
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt this week. Like I'd just be kind of looking on Facebook, oh, there we are again. It's Thursday. Are we not over this yet? Like, really?
No.
people?
No, they weren't.
No.
no, like even a year and a half later, I still see some stuff about like I'll like go back through my videos and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's still a thing. That's still people are reblogging it. It's weird, but no, I feel like I got like spared from most of the nasty stuff. Unfortunately, some of my fellow teen tournament contestants weren't as lucky, which I mean, obviously, like, internet hate is terrible no matter what, but I feel like it's worse when you're talking to a bunch of, like, high school freshmen and sophomores and telling them that, they're not going to go far in life or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if you know Kevin from the teen tournament my year. Somebody told him that he wasn't going to get into a good college, and he's a sophomore at Yale right now. So I mean,
Okay.
I assume like more or less everybody who's in the teen tournament gets into a good college. Like that doesn't
Right.
seem like that high of a bar to clear compared to.
I'm currently waiting for the Harvard alums to start chiming in on the hashtag to be like, well, he went to Yale. Of course he didn't get into a good college.
Yeah, he only went to Yale.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
his backup, I'm sure.
If you went to Yale, please, that was completely a joke. I mean, no.
Who's the best Jeopardy player who actually went to Harvard? Is it Vic Vaz? June Pak?
I can say Yale's best Jeopardy player. I would say probably Alex Jacob.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious.
Okay.
So he's probably better than all the ones that went to Harvard, or it's close.
Georgia State University's best Jeopardy player right here.
Good
Boom.
job. That's
Georgia State,
Nice.
go Panthers. I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
I'm
Go
pretty
state,
sure
state schools.
okay.
We love state
Who
schools.
is Harvard's best Jeopardy player? That may be something I look into over the summer hiatus
I'm
when I
curious
do
about
my poll as to because spoiler alert, this summer I'm going to be doing a poll as to who the fans think the best Jeopardy player is of all time.
You know
Or
who
at
else?
least the top. I'm hoping to count it down to 40. So it could be very interesting.
Matt Jackson went to Yale too, by the way. So they were probably playing off for best Yale Jeopardy player. of all
Ooh,
time.
yes,
That's
yes, good point.
That's
yes.
some tournament of champions right there.
fine. Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't stalk random people who are on Jeopardy. I played Quiz Bowl, and I know who played Quiz Bowl for a lot of people, and I know Alex Jacob personally. Those are the reasons I know those pieces of information.
I mean,
Just so
even
it's
if you
clear to
did-
everyone.
even
That
if you
felt
didn't stalk
weird.
them, like whatever.
A friend of mine's already tried to invite me this year. I'm like, no, man, I got a life to live outside Jeopardy here, just a little.
What are you talking about? There is no life outside of Jeopardy.
For me,
Sorry.
for now there isn't. You're right.
For you, yeah, definitely not. That's okay though. Enjoy it because it's awesome.
Well,
and
I mean-
fun.
Oh, okay. Jerome Verred went to Harvard. There's
Okay.
your answer.
There's
Here's
your
your answer.
All right.
Okay, so while we're on the subject of Monday, Steve, I made
Yo.
reference to this earlier with going through trivia questions with a fine-tooth comb. What got you thinking about? You were the one on Twitter who was like, I think Atlanta might be a correct response.
Yeah.
So, what got you thinking about that anyway?
It was how vague the question was to begin with. The question has a very limited number of possible answers because it has to be somebody who is president since '57 who has a library in their hometown. There's really only two, or in like a state capital, right? Is what I mean. And I think there's two, and it's at least there were two that would actually make any sense, and it was Clinton and Carter. Like anybody who's been to Atlanta at all knows the Carter Center, and I was like, okay, well, certainly Carter's library is in Atlanta, so it meets that criterion. And so I'm suddenly curious, like, well, the thing that happened in 1957, that's like all it says in the clue. It doesn't say a month, a day, anything. It just says thing happened, which is not
An
usually
event.
considered which is not usually a good way to pin a response. And so
No, it's actually really terrible.
So all that actually has to have happened is anything, which then
anything
Jimmy Carter chose to memorialize while president and make into a National Historic Site. And I'm going, well, okay. So I just started looking. I'm like, surely Martin Luther King was in Atlanta in 1957 and did a thing,
Right.
you know? And it turns out that, yeah, the SCLC was founded in Atlanta in 1957, literally. By the way, this was the MLK Day episode. So it would make a lot of sense for them to have an MLK-related clue. I mean, it also made sense for them to have a Little Rock 9 clue, you know, by the same token. But, you know, I start looking and I'm like, and it turns out that was made a National Historic, I guess. There's a National Historic Landmark. It was made that in 1977. It was made a
National Historic Site in 1980, which, of course, still Carter's president, so...
Like, you can argue that that's not an event that's being memorialized, but it happened at Ebenezer Baptist Church, and the other words in the clue was led to, which is nothing. Led to just means it happened before something else, and arguably caused it. And certainly, the SCLC, which organizes, you know, later the Birmingham things and the March on Washington, like, led to a lot of stuff related to Martin Luther King. So I think it's not wrong. I think it's less right than Little Rock, but that doesn't matter. Like, all it has to do is be not wrong, in my opinion. So, yeah, so I basically think he's right and should be called back. That's what I would do if I were the judges there. People have been brought back for things that are less clear than that.
What does the rest of the panel think about this?
I have to agree, and I think that it bears repeating what Steve just said. People have been brought back for lesser sort of errors or in questions and things like that. And so I mean, obviously they can do whatever they want, but they would really be hard-pressed to say, well, yeah, we were thinking of Little Rock, but Atlanta is not also, I mean, it fits the criteria of the clue. It's check, right down the list of things in the clue. So, yeah, I really think that it was correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a case, too. I mean, solely because, yeah, and we're talking, you know, not 2 weeks before that, or three, more like, you know, basically the week you had to leave Claudia, Ashley happened, you know.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And I'm still trying to wrap my head around how she got brought back.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, while I don't disagree with Ashley being brought back, I think this is even more. There's even more of a case for this one.
Right.
Super is, I agree with that. Now, there are other cases in the past that my friend was looking at where, like, they have not brought people back for things that are even worse, arguably. So it's not obvious what's going to happen, but it's still...
It wouldn't surprise me to see Mike come back.
Not at all.
Okay.
I mean... Anybody who writes trivia questions, just write yourself out of it by saying it happened in August. Like, then
right.
It's way harder. It's really easy.
That was such a bad. I mean, and not even because I got it wrong. Like, this is just totally from an objective standpoint. It was a incredibly poorly written clue.
It was a puzzle. It was a puzzler that didn't have that many possible good answers anyway, but it was still hard to solve in 30 seconds. I didn't get there.
Right.
I said, Martin Luther King, Atlanta, sure. Carter, yeah, great. You know.
Well,
for the record, I said Little Rock.
I didn't. I don't know.
Good job.
But
we got beat by a Canadian on a state capitals question.
Good job, Canadian. Way to make me feel terrible about my American history knowledge.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So yeah, I guess we can start moving on to the rest of the week. By the way, you're getting shade from the Brits regarding your pronunciation of what you guys would say Birmingham. The English pronounce that city name significantly differently.
They also pronounce Houston, Texas, Houston. So.
Okay. So Kyle, you came in 3 fresh new players on Tuesday. How did it feel not having to play against a returning champ?
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was actually going to say thank you, Claudia, because I was actually the 3rd person called. So if somebody had come back, I would not have made anything go. I was pretty excited, though, nonetheless, to not have to play against somebody who had buzzer timing down.
Well, you certainly did very well on the buzzer, as it were.
Some might say I buzzed a little overly fiercely, but it worked.
You kind of have to. Yeah.
You get the job done.
It was really like deeply upsetting to some people on the internet. Like they couldn't go on with their lives because I was so frantically hitting the buzzer.
Yeah. My friend said brazen.
Though I think John Schultz may disagree. From what I've been told, it takes quite a bit to actually break the buzzer. So. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Now, does anyone know what Hans was thinking on his final Jeopardy wager on Tuesday?
Oh.
He kind of ghosted in and ghosted out, so I really can't speak to that at all. But thanks.
Okay. I wonder what he heard from people being from Arkansas. Anyway.
Ooh, that's.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Well, being from Arkansas, the day before his episode, Monday's final happened. So.
Yeah.
That was one thing I was wondering what he got from people around his own hometown. Obviously, he can't really speak to that, but that was one thing I was wondering about this week. Now, Kyle, you kind of went a little bit, I would say, conservative on the Daily Doubles. Was that a concerted choice going in, or something that just happened?
No, honestly, I went in like, I'm going to bet like Matt Jackson, and it's going to be so cool, and, I know exactly what I'm going to do when I get there. And then I'm there, and I see the money's in my pocket, and I'm like, I want to keep that money. So yeah, I did not have any intentions of being conservative at all. It just happened in the moment I got real scared.
That makes sense. It happens to a lot of people, so nothing wrong with that. Were there any categories this week you guys liked, disliked? I know you did well on the history category on Thursday, Jen.
Me?
Yes.
I can't even remember.
3 out of 5. I went back to the archive.
I don't even remember the category. I just remember that Percy category, and I was like, this is the dumbest category ever. And then I'm watching it, and I picked it. So I can't explain it. I don't know.
The category you did well on was the American past.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
With Edmund Fitzgerald and the 2K. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Well, it's funny because the In Memoriam category, I knew all of them but the Titanic composer, and I couldn't get in. Kyle beat me to the buzzer, so because I had a feeling they'd ask about people that had passed away in 2015. I wasn't sure when, but I'm like, I'm gonna just read up on who we lost this year, and then that came up, and then my buzzer skills are awful, so. And also the China category. I don't know why I picked that one either because I don't know much about Asian geography. When you're up there, you're not even thinking. You're just, I need to pick something.
That was so
yeah, it was like the 4th category y'all did, so you got to go there, and then the last, so you got to go there eventually.
Every time Jen went to Chinatowns, I was like, knock it off.
Yeah, I don't even know why I did that because I'm like, oh yeah, I was just like, I have to pick something. I don't want to take too long, and then it's just like, but I'm like, oh. was like, of any of the continents, I mean, yeah, Asian geography I'm not really great at, so I was kind of upset. But and I saw the state fish category on Friday's show, and I was like, oh, that one's awful.
I thought the same thing, but apparently Demi's dad is a commercial fisherman.
Oh,
No way.
Wow.
So that's why she kept. I was like, what is she doing?
Like that, yeah, that thing I thought was a marlin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
I thought it
sailfish.
was. I thought it was too. I forgot that was the state fish of Florida, which is the thing my son knows because he's weird about that. But
That means you're doing a good job as a dad.
I think it's Grandpa's
If
fault.
I'd
in this
gotten,
case.
yeah, if I had buzzed in, I would have said alewife, which is really odd, having gone to college in Massachusetts and having spent time on that place.
You just want to say alewife on
wrecked
TV.
me. Yeah, I just wanted to say alewife. That's so bad.
It's fun to
End
say.
of the red line.
Well,
Yeah,
I had to
exactly.
laugh about your Asian
I used to live near
geography.
Davis, so I know.
Sorry.
sorry,
I had to
Claudia. Go
laugh
ahead.
about your Asian whatever category because that was my joke category. Like, oh, I bet I'm going to go on there and get Asian geography.
Right? There you go.
Fred with the Maryland/Virginia knowledge. That was like what kind of clinched you the game. Is that based on your background, or do you just know where Liberty is?
Maryland.
And watch the
Well,
Preakness?
I did after college. I'd moved to the D.C. area, and my brother still lives out there. So, yeah, there was a little bit.
A couple of things brought in on the hashtag. First up, Vaughn is wondering how willing Jeopardy will be to bring anyone else back so soon after Ashley. So it might, they might wait a while before bringing him back if they choose to. Apparently, those in Birmingham, England, actually, or at least also in northeast London, pronounce it Houston. Might be
Okay.
It might be
Stephen Fry doesn't. That's all I know.
Okay.
Far be it from me.
Okay. Carrie Green likes 80s music.
Me too.
That was a good
And-
category.
I think you earned a lot of fans with your performance on that category there, Kyle.
Kyle ran the category, didn't she?
I did.
Yeah.
And you went there first. It was like, yes.
So I was on a
Yeah.
radio show in 2007 called VH1's World Series of Pop Culture. So I dogged out the pop culture categories first whenever they were on the board because when I watch other people play Jeopardy and they go to history and geography and ignore the pop culture categories, I get real mad.
And you got like 80s music in one game and 90s pop culture in another game, and I was like, oh man.
Next question. This one's for Claudia. How did Claudia prepare for her return? Were her expectations different based on her original experience?
Well, the first time I went out, I really had absolutely no expectations. I was super excited to go. My primary goal was to not be in the negative so I could play Final Jeopardy and to avoid becoming a meme or whatever, which worked the first time, I guess, but not the second time. The second time I was much more nervous. I did a little. I kind of started to do a little more studying, but then I just sort of wigged myself out, and I was like, I don't know. I was freaked out. I was definitely freaked out because I felt like I did well in my first two games, but I felt like I kind of lucked into them a little bit, as far as like Final Jeopardy, my opponent's wagering and stuff. So, yeah, I was excited to go back, but I was definitely like a lot more nervous and still hoping to not be a Vine
Meme.
or whatever. I don't know. But we see how well that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Sometimes you go viral and it's not your fault, and
It my fault. It was entirely stuff that I did. So, you know, I mean, it was not, I don't know, it was not so bad. My first trip was awesome. I had a great time. I went to the beach. I won 2 games of Jeopardy. It was fantastic. My second trip sucked so bad. I got in. I had to work, like, because it was Monday, Tuesday taping. I had to work on Sunday, and so I didn't even get into LA until like 11 o'clock local time. And then I went and like laid in the bed and stared at the ceiling until about 3 a.m. and just decided to get up and get ready. And I think I got to the lobby of the DoubleTree for the shuttle at like 5:30 because I was just like, well, what else am I gonna do? So, you know.
I was actually the alternate on Claudia's second game, and they picked the other girl, Kayana.
I was so excited to see you when
and I was like,
showed up in outside the
yeah,
studio. I was like, oh, I know you.
How many games did you win? But see, they called. So after the game I was an alternate, there were 3 weeks that they had off. So they called me the next day, and they're like, can you come in November 16th or something? And I'm like, yeah. 2 days before that, they call and say that they have to reschedule to December because of his knee. So, you know, it was kind of like I wasn't sure if they were taping in between. So when I saw Claudia, I'm like, oh, cool, she won all these games, awesome. And then I realized they had, you know, the scheduling conflict. So, but yeah, it was pretty funny seeing you again.
Yeah, that was cool. It was nice to see a friendly face. I mean, not that you all did look friendly.
Like, I know her.
You know. I know.
And everybody
friendly that I inserted myself into your conversation to become your friend.
Oh no,
everybody
was
totally
great. Awesome.
I thought both times I was there, everyone was great. Because the day I was an alternate, I was there all day, and I didn't know till 10 minutes before the last game that I wasn't getting on. So I was there for pretty long days, and I thought everybody was great. Pretty lucky.
No, Claudia, you were like, you know, in the van that first day on the way over. Yeah, you were just like, okay, I was kind of on your every word.
Oh, well, I talk a lot, and I had been up since, you know, it's 36 hours prior or something, so I don't know.
You know, considering how little sleep you got, I thought you played very well.
You know, something that out of the 3 games that I played, that was actually my favorite game. I felt like it was the most exciting and the most competitive, you know? And then you just had to laugh at the end. What else can you do?
Yep.
Well, that's the thing about that game is people see the 3 zeros. Like 2 of those were just gonna happen. Like and
they
you know,
were, or
it's
really
1 0 is really what happened there.
Yeah.
Like
You know,
that's the realistic outcome there. I think it's not that surprising.
So, can I get, I guess, from Kyle, Fred, and Jen, your thought process on your various Final Jeopardies this week?
Oh, God.
Well, from what I remember, so at home, and I think a lot of people do this, the Final Jeopardy category comes up and you try to make a guess before you hear the clue.
Totally, yes.
And so for Famous Brits, I did that, and in my head I thought J.K. Rowling, and then
good.
Clue that I was thinking. And so it was instantly like, I'm writing this down because it fits the clue and it's what I thought. So,
wow.
And for Sunni Islam, I had read the night before that Sunni meant tradition in a book that I was reading. And then for the infamous battle...
You got $0 for that, but... You know,
well, it was real...
Once again, you know, you said money in your pocket, and you kind of just chickened out.
Oh, I'm not blaming you for the wager at all. Like, if you don't love the category, don't bother.
I know, but I was as upset as Alex was at me for not wagering once I knew what the question was. But yeah, for Battle of Thermopylae, I kept thinking, it's the thing from 300, it's the thing from 300. I just couldn't remember.
And can I say something about that? In light of this week's snowstorms on the East Coast, if not for a snow day a few years ago, I would have never seen the movie 300.
Nice.
Have a clue.
How appropriate.
I knew that one instantly because I have watched it many, many times because it has hot naked men in it.
I've only watched the super cut where he says Spartus 174 times. Never actually. No, like it's a supercut
Well,
of
and
all the
it's-
different times he says Sparta or Spartans just spliced together. It's fantastic. I have not seen the movie yet.
As soon as the clue came up and talking about the guy getting his eye treated, I saw Faramir with his eye patch, whatever that guy's name is. He played Faramir in The Lord of the Rings.
Fair. I don't even remember his name.
Neither do I.
Oh.
He's got red hair.
He left.
Yeah, he's the one that did. It's David Wenham. Apparently, he didn't get
There
famous.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go. He was also Faramir, and he was also on that awesome show Top of the Lake. It's really good if you haven't seen it. Anyway, sorry, I watch a lot of TV.
As evidenced by the streaming category, you did very well on.
Yes.
really good.
Oh, and I was so mad. I didn't get the very last one, but oh well.
There were I saw some people that I think I saw one tweet this week from somebody who was like, homeschooling and doing really well on TV. I guess we know what she does with her time.
Yeah,
But,
that seems logical and smart to say.
Hey,
That's
to
what
be
I want to
fair-
put on Twitter.
to be fair, we watch a lot of nature documentaries.
They're awesome.
They are awesome.
Way better than reading about it, like by a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
About animals? Ugh. Don't give me any of that. Yeah, it's way better to watch.
Well, on the hashtag, Vaughn agrees with you, Claudia, in terms of Jeopardy goals, in terms of don't become a Vine.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
See, thankfully, oh wait, no, I actually did. I was gonna say I didn't become a Vine. It became an Instagram video, which is like a little bit longer. But there was a Vine, and it was the what is shade, and then this guy just had his head in his hand, and I was like, that's basically me after I answered. That's how I felt inside a little bit. That was I'd forgotten about that clue completely until the episode aired, and everybody was crazy over it. But I was really the only reason I knew that too is I'd watched a video like maybe a couple months before then, where a YouTube star that I really like had mentioned he was teaching slang, and that was one he threw out there, and I was like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. I'm not going to use it ever, and
Hey, you never know, like, what kind of random stuff you're going to have seen one time 5 years ago, and oh, that's the answer to a question on Jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I think that happened with like one of the questions. Like I think it was in my second game, the semifinal game. There was a song, and it was Sweater Weather, and I'd actually never heard the song all the way through, but I just had happened to read on. I think I was looking through the Billboard charts, and it was there. So it was weird. It was like one of those things, and it's like I feel like a lot of people have the same experience, but they don't get to notice it. And I feel like we Jeopardy people are like pretty, or Quiz Bowl or whatever, that we get to have that experience where it's like, oh yeah, that random fact from like middle school about tectonic plates. Oh yeah, I remember that still. Like
Definitely.
Yep.
That's the key. I think that's the key to success on Jeopardy is just that kind of brain where you read something one time and it just sticks.
Yep.
you
for
can't
whatever
remember
reason.
where you left your car keys because.
I said exactly the same thing. Somebody texted me after watching on Monday, and they're like, "You were saying words that I had never heard before in my life." And I said, "Yes, I forget to pay my water bill half the time, but and I get the little email, pay your water bill." But
I'm more like ignore my water bill. That's like,
I feel as though
That is a word,
I
but,
feel as though that was either I can't remember if it was in Trebekistan or Brainiac, but either Ken or Bob Harris recounted a story about having just won a whole bunch of games of Jeopardy, but couldn't find his car in the parking lot.
yes,
Ooh.
yes, I know that feel.
sounds logical.
Sounds like a Jeopardy thing. Now, Fred, I was looking on J-Archive today. Didn't really notice it in watching the game, but on the archive, there were, and you too, Kyle, there were a lot of negs in your game. You guys were ringing in a lot with wrong answers. Tough board, or were you guys just trigger happy on the buzzer?
In my case, it was just tough and adjusting to very very bright lights.
Yes.
I mean, and I didn't really notice it until I got the the Uncle Alex shot that my left eye was almost swollen shut.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I'm trying to see this. I'm trying to look like, and I've been, pancaked within an inch of my life. And that day I was telling Lisa, remember, I wear hard contacts. Be careful every time. And it was just like, so yeah, it was just weird, and so that's why I fell into such a hole so quick. I mean, I was really adjusting.
It's easy to panic too. I know I got some stupid ones wrong where afterwards I'm like, yeah, of course, what was I thinking? But then you start panicking because you're like, oh my, I can't stay in a hole. I have to get out of this hole,
Exactly.
And then it's really easy to fall down a rabbit hole of just,
No, at the bar where we had our viewing party Friday afternoon, everybody was so grateful that I was at 0 for the start of Double Jeopardy.
Really?
Yeah. They were just like, he got out of the hole.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, like, single Jeopardy is worth so much less than double Jeopardy, like, that you just end, it's almost like a trial run,
Right.
like, to some degree. Like, I had a friend in college who was at minus 16 at the end of the J round. He had been at minus 2,800, and he ended up with 12 grand, and then he just lost and missed Final Jeopardy. But, like, it was still, like, like, it barely mattered. Like, just get going on the second set.
Yeah, I mean,
And I know there are a lot of champs who have been, behind, even third at the start of double, and then they just go from there. And it's like, I think part of it is getting into your groove too, because I know, like, I was, and I was silly in final, and I totally forgot, like, there was the wild card option. So I was like, I have to beat Cooper, I have to beat Cooper, I have to beat Cooper. And I bet, and it was really awful. But, like, I think part of it, too, is I was intimidated. One of the categories was sports, and I had just talked with one of my, in the green room, I had talked with one of the other competitors, Josiah, about sports, and I was like, this kid knows more about sports than I do, so I kind of, like, psyched myself out there. But I think it's really just getting that practice in the first round, and then from there, like, a lot of champs just, like, they get in the swing of things, and they just go from there.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, I can see why that might be intimidating. For the record, I think Josiah knows about as much sports as I do, and I'm like, and I think I know a lot about sports. But,
oh yeah, no, Josiah's he knows a lot about a lot of different sports too, which is like, I'm like mostly just like a hockey fan, but I do know like some football just from like growing up as a Pats fan. Which today was a very sad day, but that's another story.
Yeah, we're all totally broken up for you guys.
I have on my floor, the floor of my dorm room, we have Jets fans, and they're like, we're not even sorry. And then the RA is a Seahawks fan. She's like, now you know how we feel.
This Jets fan, I don't know what to think right now.
Yeah. We'll give you a pass because you at least spent time in Boston, so we'll give you a pass there. But no, I think it's just getting in the swing of things, and I kind of just went to my happy place, I guess, in a sense, where I was like, I don't even remember feeling anything like while I was like actually in the game, and then afterwards I like felt like I just run a marathon.
Yeah, you really, I think to a certain extent, you really have to dissociate. Otherwise, you'll like throw up because it can be, you just have to really like leave your body a little bit.
Yeah, when you're watching.
What I did. Watching my episodes, I'm like, I didn't remember like 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like my brain just didn't register or something.
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
so if you
rewatching
think about it, it's an
Friday,
incredibly stressful situation.
right? Rewatching Friday, I'm like it kind of makes me want to ask, particularly, Kyle and Claudia, when when you won when you won the first game, when did you finally wake up and realize I'm on the Jeopardy set? I need to get this. Because it didn't happen for me until the Private Benjamin question. That's when I just realized, because I mean, you heard me say one thing and then finally said who was Goldie Hawn, and that was like the point where I realized, okay, this is serious now, and we're gonna act like grown people the rest of the way.
For me, honestly, it didn't come until after I won the first game because I couldn't even do the math on stage, and I didn't realize I had won. And then when Alex said that I won, I was like, "Oh shit! I have to do this again."
And when I won, I mean, there are probably lots of memes, including some friends of mine have made of me, with the weird look, they're calling it side eye. I don't know what either of my eyes were doing when they at the point where they're flashing the 16,000 in front of me, in front of my mug. I have no clue. They just weren't doing the same thing.
Now, the online test is coming up next week, actually. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Do you guys have any tips for those writing?
Relax first. Or, I mean, like right before that the evening, at some point in that in that couple of hours beforehand, just cut out of everything for as long as you can, and then come back and get the thing done.
The thing Alex Jacobs said, which I also agree with, I think having taken this test a bunch of times, is you get 15 seconds or whatever.
Exactly.
And you can go to the next question, or you can just sit there. It's way better to just sit there. Because A, you might reconsider your answer, but B, you're not making it fast for no reason. You kind of get to, breathe, and that's just way better. And you're just giving up value if you do it otherwise anyway. There's no reason.
And, when you get that same amount of time, it's going to be the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And
just don't click submit, ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the other thing, and I do this, and I guess everybody should do it. The earliest opportunity you can get to have your computer, have everything set, do it. Have the site in a tab already.
Not too many tabs, though.
Yeah, right?
No, never so many tabs.
One will do.
Yes, one will do.
And maybe reboot first before you log on.
Yeah. As many of our panelists hear from me in the 5-10 minutes beforehand, I can't see you, I can't hear you. Try rebooting your computer. In your respective interviews, did Alex Trebek talk about the topic you wanted him to?
I think in mine he talked about the categories, which was kind of strange. It's like, well, sometimes you get categories you like, and sometimes you don't, or something. And I'm like, yeah, definitely didn't really like the categories.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Right?
Really?
Fascinating.
Can we change them? Would that be cool?
Right, exactly. Can we get rid of that Percy category forever, please? But yeah, I think I can't even remember something along those lines, and I'm just like, all right, okay. But he was, the first couple shows, he was, I felt bad. He must have been on painkillers because he seemed a little out of it.
He really was.
Yeah.
I think, as evidenced by his calling the wrong contestant to open Friday's episode.
Yeah.
How long did the judges have to talk about that one, I should ask?
It was a while. This was still in the panic period, so I was completely not realizing what had just happened. So Kyle could really talk to it better.
Yeah, they edited it way down because
Big time.
he called on Demi, and I looked over because I was so confused because my podium had lit up, and she said, "Who are your Rhythmics?" And then he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Kyle." And so then, like, it was like a full 5 seconds later that I was like, "Who are your Rhythmics?" So they edited it to make it look like we were right on top of each other, but it
Yeah,
was
it seemed like it was instantaneous
Yeah.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I just remember there was just this long period where they were just trying to figure everything out. That much I could say. Because I mean, remember, I was in the third position, so I'm not even seeing really either one of them.
Oh,
It's okay. It's okay. We're all good. I have two computers going, and one. We're all good. We're all good. I just came back on with my second computer, so everything's fine. Continue talking. Yeah, for sure. Because I think we're talking about Alex Trebek for sure. So, and or at least the.
I think you can skip. Do you want to come say hi? Right here.
Do we have an introduction coming?
Come here, Catherine. This is my daughter, Catherine. Hi.
Catherine.
Say hi.
Hello.
All right. Did I answer your question? Yes. Okay. Bye.
So, So for the rest of you, did Alex talk about the topic you wanted him to?
At the time, I did want him to talk about it, but like looking back, I'm kind of embarrassed about some because the first one it was about like I had no clue what to say. I was like going through like I'm just gonna kind of pick random stuff from my life and see if that's something he wants to talk about. So I ended up talking about a Halloween costume I made when I was little, and that was like looking back, I was like, maybe I shouldn't have. But no, like the other time, it was like pretty. I had just brought it up that day because it had happened right before I got to the studio for the first day. It was a story about how a seagull came and swept up my friend's bag, and we looked like such tourists trying to chase it down. Because
That's terrifying.
It actually swept down and grabbed her. She had a shopping bag, and I found out later, like after the taping, that her wallet was in there, and that's why she was freaking out so much. It was her wallet and her phone and like everything. So, I mean, I kind of wish I'd had like more interesting stories to tell, but I don't know. I feel like I was comparing my stories to everyone else's too. I don't know if other people had that where you're like comparing them and you're like, man, I wish I'd talked about this or that or this or that.
Well, I don't know how any of us could compete with feeding an alligator or giving eye drops to an alligator and specializing in shark blood.
Yeah.
So.
I will say, like, I was excited that he picked the alligator eye drop story as the one that was guaranteed to make it on air because I was like, that's a cool story. Shout out the gator at the same time. But it was just kind of interesting for me. I had a whole ton of different, a lot of variety of stories, and they just kind of decided to make me Crazy Animal Lady, which I was ultimately okay with, but they didn't use anything outside of veterinary medicine.
No, mine, and of course I'm saying this because I have more opportunities to break off some of the other ones. The worst one got on Friday. The one I didn't want to even go there with. Which was about my job.
Did you have to, I mean, because the one that I wanted him to talk about, he did it. So I'm like, I guess he wanted to talk about the Blarney Stone. I don't know. It was kind of surprising that he picked that one. I don't know what goes through his mind, so.
Well, I think, I know Jennifer Morrow talked about about her first interview with the drumsticks from Neil Park from Rush, and was like the contestant coordinators actually had to put down. She has the drumsticks on the
Otherwise,
card.
he wasn't going to pick it.
Yeah. She has drumsticks from the drummer from Rush. You are talking about this, but So I mean, that's I always find that interesting to see where Alex goes.
And they cut a little bit out. I noticed of. I don't know if anybody else noticed, but they edited a little bit out of my story. And I'm like, oh, they did that really seamlessly because I forgot that I had said more. And then I'm like, yeah, they did some editing.
Yeah, I talked way more about shark blood, and they cut it all out.
We all wanted to hear more. I felt that
I
way.
know. I would have loved to hear some
Liz
more.
tweeted that, so people actually saw that one, but I agreed with that statement.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
speaking of Liz, I just remembered there were a couple of articles where Claudia, you weren't even in them because apparently Liz was the second contestant.
But I am Liz, so actually, yes, I was in them because we are the same person. Have you ever seen us in the same room? I don't think so.
Liz, if you are watching us, I am going to give you a link to come in here to the live panel. My next question for you guys, it's the standing question from Ben Ingram. If you've watched these before, you'll know what I'm about to ask. But let's see, Claudia, you weren't there over the break, so you can't answer this one this time. But what did you guys have for lunch at the Sony commissary?
I had a salad that I ate 2 bites of because it was disgusting.
I had a shaved chicken breast sandwich with I probably drank way more water than I should have.
Both times I had lunch, because I also had lunch when I was an alternate, I ended up eating 2 cookies. I was too nervous to eat anything. I'm like, this is nice and bland. Meanwhile, the sugar probably wasn't the best idea. But I'm like, and when I gave them the coupon at the checkout, they're like, are you sure this is all you want? I'm like, I can't eat anything
They did
else.
the same thing to me. They're like, this is only $3. Don't you want some more food?
Money.
I'm like, what are you trying to say?
They sell you food? Or you get a voucher?
We get a voucher.
Oh, okay.
For
Damn.
But we get the employee discount, which just makes everything like super cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's going to be a waste of food because I'm too nervous. So, 2 cookies, that was it.
Vaughn is asking on the hashtag, Catherine with a K or Catherine with a C?
With it, and I replied to him because I'm on my phone too. Catherine with a C, like Catherine the Great.
Okay.
Good choice.
Now, do you think she'll ever want to try out for Jeopardy, or?
Let me just say she probably doesn't have a choice because I'm determined to have the first 3rd generation Jeopardy champion because my mom was a champ, I'm a champ, and I informed them.
Keep it going.
After I won. I'm like, guess what, guys? Guess what?
You're taking the test.
So, yeah, they got Ken Jennings Jr. Genius Guides for Christmas.
Ooh.
They were excited about that.
Awesome.
I always wondered what would have happened if Ken Jennings' father had tried out for Jeopardy. His name is also Ken Jennings. That would have freaked out a lot of people in the green room if he'd gotten on. But
well, I know somebody in our contestant group whose name was Matt, and he had actually been there before when Matt Jackson was playing, and he had to sit through 12 episodes or something like that.
Didn't want to be Matthew.
I guess not. I didn't really get a chance to talk to him and ask him, but...
Yeah, if that were me and I had the option to lay out until Matt Jackson was gone, I would have said, yeah,
like I'm going with my Matt.
I will do that instead.
Yeah, rumor has it there was somebody who didn't want to be Alexander against Alex Jacobs. So.
Yeah, that actually, I can confirm that in fact did happen.
Because they didn't want to play him specifically, so it's probably not a bad move if you know they're going to bring him back.
Right.
I guess this is about a good time to ask if anyone on the panel has any random questions for anyone else on the panel.
I do.
Okay.
So, Kyle, your name is Kyle Lauren. Has that been fun for you with the new Star Wars out?
So it's hysterical. I made a comment on Facebook because my email address is Lauren.
Oh, nice.
Facebook that I must be on the dark side, And then sure enough, the emo Kylo Ren account posted like OF and a picture of a Starbucks cup, and the Starbucks cup said Kyle Lauren.
Nice.
So I replied to him that was my cup, and he took it by mistake, and he liked that tweet, so I was pretty stoked.
That's pretty good, because that guy's blowing up.
Yeah. So I decided I needed to get one of those Funko Pop Kylo Ren figurines for my office because we're clearly kindred spirits.
Nice. I'm glad that question worked out. I thought you might be like, what are you talking about?
Kylo Ren and I go way back.
Any other questions? Okay, I hear crickets, so I guess I'd like to thank everyone for coming on to live panel. If you're watching and have any last-minute things to say, type them out very quickly, and maybe I'll get a chance to read them. But yeah, best of luck to you. I guess best of retroactive luck to you on next week's episodes, Fred. You are the defending champion, and we get to see you on TV again on Monday.
Yeah, and like I said, the better fireside chats start right away on Monday.
By the way, a comment from Vaughn, not wanting to change what you're called right before you go on Jeopardy is totally legit in his opinion. So
I think it's not unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I had to decide because my family calls me Kate, but like everybody else calls me Kat. So I had to decide, do I want to go, and like when I was younger I went by Kate, so I had to decide, do I want to go by what I go by now or what I went by when, my family knows me and that sort of thing. So I had like a moment and I was just like trying to figure out like what is my name, but no, I feel like last minute changes too. That would be like so, because you wouldn't necessarily be thinking that, yeah, he's gonna say my name, so you wouldn't you'd kind of be thrown off a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
I kind of went by the lights anyway, so
yeah, obviously
I didn't
that
have
didn't
that
work
problem.
so good for Kyle and Demi, right?
Well, at least they ended up giving her the money for it, but yeah.
I guess I was surprised they left that in because they could have just put their like sixth clue in there and done it over. I guess I don't know.
I should probably say that I know there were some people asking about the Don Juan or Don Juan pronunciation.
Mm-hmm.
He actually re-recorded it at the break as Don Juan, and then they ended up not using it anyway. So.
No, Don Juan is what Byron called him.
That's what
Everything in the whole poem rhymes with Juan. It's really awkward if you want to pronounce it correctly. Because the whole time you're reading it, you're like, dang it.
I figured it was intentional.
So, it was.
Well, it's funny because they re-recorded it and then they ended up not using it, so I don't know what the discussion there was, but...
Those Brits just make up pronunciations of stuff.
Nicaragua.
They're so bad at it. Yeah, Nicaragua. And like I'm going and singing like in St. Paul's Cathedral and stuff. They pronounce Latin really strangely too.
Wow, if you guys carry on, I may be single by the end of the panel.
Uh-oh.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah. So oh boy, I hope she's gone to bed. In any case.
Hey, like the Latin word venite is not venite. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness, really?
Not. It's just really not.
It's really not.
No. And yet, the canons at St. Paul's, that's how they pronounce it, venite.
Oof.
So, yeah.
Okay, so...
On that note,
if you are from the island of Great Britain, please accept my sincere and humble apologies.
And all of this is really just a cover for wishing in my deepest heart of hearts that I was English. So,
yeah, I'm a giant Anglophile myself.
Really, really and truly, I really do. So.
Literally giant. I live up to all their fat jokes they make about Americans. And
oh
no. Well, for everyone here at Jeopardy Live panel, I think it's a good time to say good night to all of you who are tuning in. For everyone here on the panel, to everyone on the panel, thank you for taking part in tonight's panel. For everyone, let's see, let's get the credits together. Let's see if this, we're actually going to work. Awesome. So for everyone here on Jeopardy Live panel, thank you guys for taking part. And I hope has this actually shared? Yes, it has. Perfect. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, taking part. Next week, we're going to have 2 live panels. The 31st, one will be the online test special, where I interview a bunch of people who just took the online test. And week 20 in review will be next Sunday night at 7 p.m. So for everyone on Jeopardy Live panel, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for taking part, and have a great night. I will see you guys next Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.